Hello, everyone, and welcome to Render Time, the show where we talk to video creators about their worst and best project, everything that happened in between. My name is Sean McDaniel, and today we are talking with Mari Takahashi about her creative journey from being a ballet dancer to a content creator to a filmmaker and beyond. Let's take a listen. Mari, hello. Welcome to Render Time. It's so good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm stoked that you're here. A good friend of ours, Rod, was able to kind of connect us together, so I'm very thankful to him. Rod, thank you.
Thank you,
Um,
Rod.
so yeah, in true Render Time fashion, I love to give our guests an opportunity to tell our audience who you are and what you do.
Amazing. Well, hello, audience. Thanks for having me. My name is Mari Takahashi. I go by Atomic Mari on the internet, and I make YouTube videos. I've been making YouTube videos for 16 years now, since 2010, and I started by accident completely, as people did back then in 2010. When you're uploading YouTube videos, you're just uploading because you go, I don't know, who knows what'll happen. But my story is a little bit different in the sense that I started with people who are already established. I was a ballet dancer. That was my 9 to 5 and what I did all the time. I thought that that's was going to be my career for the rest of my life, but I was on the equivalency of Craigslist for performers, and I saw something that said, "Hey, we need an actor to play Japanese, to speak Japanese for an internet web video."
Mhm.
And as a person of the theater, I was like, I don't know what this means, but I can speak Japanese, so let's go in for it. And that turned out to be for a comedy channel called Smosh. And in 2010, I mean, they were ranked top 3. And then 2010 YouTube, it's like it's a different time. It's like if you knew the top 10 of YouTube, everyone knew who they were. And so I just kind of landed on YouTube. And so since then, I've been making videos with them, and launched Smosh Games, which is the video game channel. And that's kind of where I lived for a very long time.
Okay, so I have some questions about that. So the early days of YouTube, what was it like? I mean, what was the experience like back then? I imagine it's vastly different than what it is now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these days, everyone knows YouTube. Everyone knows
Mhm.
that there is an avenue to create content, become a content creator, have a career, and have a life path, possibly,
Mhm.
if you're very lucky and if you work hard. But back then, I mean, to me, I felt like it was kind of like art class, and like YouTube was the art corner where you don't look and there was
Yeah.
just a bunch of kids making stuff. That's how it felt for me. And as a viewer, I would watch people who looked like me on YouTube, Asian folks who were at the center of their narrative and their stories, something that I didn't always see on television. I saw Asian folks, but they were never in the center. And so that's what I was consuming YouTube for back then. Yeah, I like to say it was a weird artist's corner.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it was so odd back then because movies were still very, I think very strong back then, and obviously TV was getting really big, and YouTube was just kind of there. My biggest question is, what do you think's changed from YouTube then to YouTube now? I mean, there's just so many channels now. You can get lost in YouTube, and back then it was a vast sea of videos. But I feel like something's fundamentally changed, and I'm wondering if you have any insight of what you think flipped the lid for YouTube.
You mentioned it. There's so much variety now.
Mhm.
There's an ocean of content. I'd like to think that at the heart of it, where as a place where artists can go to kind of throw spaghetti at a wall and see what sticks, I do believe that that through line is still there. There's
Yeah.
this muddiness of like how to monetize, how to make your craft your business, and all these things kind of like wrapped around it. And I feel like that's like the muscles that are wrapped around the core that sometimes like get tied up in knots.
Mhm.
But if you go and dig deeper, that desire to make something and to share it with people, I think that is still very, very much at the core. And
Yeah.
That's what I continue to love about it.
Do you feel like there's more of a focus on monetization and views and return on investment with YouTube content creation now, or do you feel like it's still got a core of like this is what people love to do and they're just making content around it? Or is it a mix?
I think it's a mix, and it depends on who you talk to and kind of like where you surround yourself with. I think monetization in any art is always a concern, and coming
Mhm.
from ballet, something that was inherently known. It's like, how do I do what I love to do
Yeah.
and be able to put food on the table? And so money is a human thing, I think, to have concerns over. We always hear, do what you love what you do. And so it's perfectly understandable that we want to monetize the thing that we enjoy doing. But I've come to realize it doesn't always have to be that way.
So you went from Smosh, it's called Smosh, right?
Yep, you nailed it.
Smosh Games, and then where did it go after that? So what happened to Mari's career after that point?
Oh, good question. What did happen to it, Sean? Well, in 2020, I parted ways with Smosh after 10 years,
Mhm.
and I embarked on my own. And since then, what, six years now? I look at my watch that I don't have.
It's a freckle past the hair.
In 6 years, I've paved my way. I've worked a ton with Netflix as a host.
Mhm.
I was, I mean, I kind of went back to the artist's way of, again, kind of like seeing like, what else do I do now? And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of creators are feeling that. Those, especially folks who've been doing it for like a decade. It's like, where do we go from now?
Mhm.
Because when you start, you're like, oh, this is it. This is what I do for life. But you evolve as a person, you change as an artist. And of course, the creator economy changes as well. And so a lot of those questions came about. And I'm really, really happy to say that my journey has led more to filmmaking, acting, and learning the ropes of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a really cool journey. And I've always had this sort of understanding that digital can very much learn from traditional, and traditional has plenty to learn from digital. Like, it's this
Mhm.
handshake, and it's not a versus match.
Yeah.
But surrounding myself around cinematographers and directors and folks who have been on that side has been a really, really amazing learning experience.
Now, what role do you like normally taking on? Do you like to kind of are you more behind the camera? I mean, you sound like you did hosting as well. So, what do you prefer? Are you behind the camera, front of the camera, as a director, producer? Or do you play more of the host and actor of the thing, or do you kind of switch it around? Where do you like to sit in that?
I like to be in front of camera.
Hmm.
I don't like directing. That's scary. Not yet at least. I have so much more to learn, and I have so much respect for directors.
Yeah.
I like EPing. I don't always. I'm a terrible line producer. Things will get completely dropped off, dropped, and
Don't give it to me.
don't give it to me if you know what you're doing. I've always loved editing. Yeah, it's such a dabble, and it's kind of like the YouTube University type of situation where it's like, all I can do is say, "Hey, what do you do? Can I try and learn that?" And then I go, "Oh, geez, that's not for me." Or I might be able to, with enough experience and work, figure that out.
So when you started your new journey after Smosh, where did you feel like you kind of found your stride, or how long did it take you to find your stride to get back moving again? To kind of, it's almost like you had to build up your own IP again, like your own brand outside of Smosh. How long do you think it took you, and do you still feel like you're on that journey of achieving that?
Yeah, the journey was real, Sean. I had so many ups and downs. I had so many moments where I'm like, I'm doing it. And like, it's moments where I got a show on Quibi, and like I
Mhm.
was hosting for Quibi, and then Quibi shuts down, and I'm
Oh,
like,
Quibi.
okay,
Oh,
rest in
Quibi.
pieces. It was
Oddly
just a
enough,
little early.
that's so funny. I'm actually in the building where Quibi used to reside.
Are you kidding?
They were right upstairs. Yeah.
Oh
We're
my gosh, the building that none of us were able to see because shutdown happened from the pandemic. Exactly when things were
that was a
going.
that was a tough time. I mean, I really liked the concept of Quibi. I got it, but I definitely think the pandemic really messed with it because it was all about being on the go. It was all about consuming short form content. And being from Frame.io, we had a really huge hand in that when that relationship was happening. So
Yeah,
it's so funny you bring up Quibi. They were just right upstairs. That's so
that's
funny.
incredible. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, were they early? The amount of vertical dramas these days and micro dramas,
Yeah.
I'm like, were they just a little bit early? Because to your point, their commercials were like, "Are you in line to buy something at the store? Are you on the train? Quibi's for you." And it's like, oh geez, this is the worst timing possible.
I know. Are you at home? Are you at home? Are you at home? Like, yeah, I am.
Want to watch things on your tiny screen? Like, no, I have a TV now.
I know. And verticals really made a jump forward. Are you doing any verticals right now currently?
I'm not. No, I haven't jumped in on it. I have a very good friend from Smosh Games,
Mm.
who's now writing, directing, and show running a bunch. And so I'm kind of like in the periphery learning a lot. And I'm excited to see where it goes because I think in a lot of ways it's got that fringe sort of feeling that YouTube
Mhm.
was in its early days. And so who knows?
Now, are you a naysayer on? I'm trying to be delicate with this because some people are in the middle on it. But are you a widescreen or a vertical person? Like, do you enjoy widescreen content more than you enjoy vertical, or do you feel like you've gotten kind of used to it?
I have definitely gotten used to it, and there are times when I'm filming things that I get annoyed going wide, and that's annoying
Mm,
to me.
yeah.
Because I can see framing with a 9 by 16 better in some ways, but
Mm,
I mean, when we're making pretty things, though, we like the wide.
yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like different reasons for different, like it's different mediums for different reasons.
I feel like there's going to be a lot to chew on it. And when we actually did our kind of pre-call, it sounded like you had a couple things. So again, in true render time fashion, I always like to start with the worst project that you have accomplished creatively. So let's get into it. Let's start out with the first one. What was your worst project?
I love that you start with the worst one. Um,
We always want to
you,
end on a high note.
okay,
That's
that
the
makes
thing.
sense. That makes sense. Okay, so we were talking about this, and I'm like,
Mhm.
Sean, I don't know if I can land on a project because I see like good that comes out of it. And like honestly, I was looking for those with like hardships, and there's plenty of hardships that we go through when we're making things. It's like
Totally.
DIT problems, and you forgot to hit record. My worst problem ever, and like
I've done it.
programs crashing and meltdowns in the middle of the night. Those hardships are so there, but in each of them I do feel like there was always these like found lessons. So when this question came up and I really started to like chew on it, what rang true is that my least favorable projects are not the chaotic ones. It's the ones that never got made.
Let's dig into it. Do you have one in particular that you're like, man, I really wish I worked on that one and got it through?
Yeah, it's one that's still in post. It's been in
Okay.
post since 2019. There were almost no technical issues on set. There were almost no like hardships making the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is in post. It's overthinking, and it's like that is the worst production issue is overthinking. And I think it gets the better of all artists.
So what do you think's holding it up? Is it you kind of going, this isn't what I wanted it to be? Why do you think it's still kind of sitting in this kind of post production? What's that called? Purgatory.
It's
Post production purgatory.
it is. Oh gosh. I feel like that should be a website where everyone just kind of uploads their post-production purgatory project, and
That's
there's
kind of
no
funny.
judgment. It's just you put it up half baked and it at least has somewhere to go. Purgatory altogether.
Okay. We're gonna work on this and then we're gonna patent it. so that
Kind
nobody
of
can take
cool.
it. So we got to get
Kind
it
of
done
cool.
before this podcast comes out.
Yeah. To answer your question, it is in some ways like that question of like, oh, I made this in 2019. Wait, does this even reflect who I am today? And then it's like but have I grown more as an artist that this would be something that would bring me backwards or forwards?
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the day, people don't care. Nobody cares. Like
Nobody knows either.
nobody knows either. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like it stays in your mind and it just runs a marathon and it's tiring itself out. And to your point, no one knows.
I have to say I've gone through that through a couple projects, and I go through those same emotions. I go like, is this still relevant? Do people even care about this? Have I beaten this project, down so much, or talked about it and worked on it so much that like doesn't even matter anymore? And throwing that question back to you, does it matter to you?
It does. Yeah. I think in a lot of ways it's like finishing it will feel like, I don't know, scratching that itch on your back that's been there for 7 years. Is it really 2026? Oh gosh, I'm itchy thinking about it. What about it matters is finishing the project, and not just for myself, right? Like the people involved. It's knowing that something was made. And I don't know, have you read the book?
I'm going to say no already because I do not read books. I'm going to just say that right now. That is my post-production purgatory. I don't read a lot of books, but what book is it? There might be a chance I've heard of it and then I can go, oh, I'll read it. And then I'll never do it.
Okay, so this is a book called Big Magic. It's written by the person who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, the book.
Okay.
And she believes that inspiration is something that's almost like a physical entity. It comes to you, it leaves your body. This is why genius comes to some people. You're not born a genius. You aren't a genius. Genius comes to you. And so when that inspiration comes to you, you can either hold it and say, I'm going to do something with this and we're going to make something, and you do it and it comes into fruition, or you go, I'm going to do something with it and you're like, focus is all over the place. That genius will leave.
Yeah.
And somebody else will make it. And then you'll go, hey, I had that idea. I should have made that. And the reason is because it goes somewhere else.
That's, a friend of mine, I think it was Rod, actually was just saying it's now part of the creative collective. You've manifested it in some way. And yes, it's sitting in some kind of post-production purgatory, or it's on a piece of paper in a script form or written down. It's out. And now it's whatever universe ethos, whatever you believe in, that energy, it's out now. So it's that. And that's exactly what happens. Is it's out, that idea happens, and then you get so mad that you didn't do it. And honestly, sometimes it comes out really good and you're like, man, I had that idea such a long time ago. That's my biggest fear. Okay, here's my question. If this project that's kind of sitting in purgatory came out and was done by somebody else, obviously, if they did it through the natural course of an idea creation and they did it, how would you feel?
Oh, that's such a good question. That's the type of question that makes somebody go, okay, you know what? I'm going to hit post.
You're going to have it done by the end of this call.
Yeah, I'm going to work on it right now as we do this podcast.
Well, let's finish the interview first, at least, Mari. Come on.
No, it's such a good question because, yeah, I mean, all sorts of jealousy and regret and shame and all those like heavy emotions, right? Of oh, I should have and I could have and I would have, and I do think that those types of really, really sticky words are heavy. They stay with you for a really long time, and that's how I would feel. Yeah, I would say, gosh, I had the possibility to do that, I didn't. And
yeah.
It's something that I think that a lot of creatives think about, whether it's in the forefront of their mind or not. It's one of those like, oh, I really want to make, and then we have a list.
Well, your mind's always going to find reasons for you to not do something, especially if it forces you to go through some kind of emotional turmoil, What's not making this go over the edge? I don't know if we've gotten to that point. What is it? How it was shot? Is it just how much work it's going to take to get it done? Why is it in purgatory?
For
What did it do to you?
for a long time, it was the work. It was the post-production work to get it done. But Sean, we're close. Like it is close. Don't hold it to me. I think it's gonna be out this year. And
Okay, that's
when it
good.
does come out, I will send it to you.
Please. In fact, we'll do a follow-up episode and we'll screen it and we'll talk
You're
about
I bet the first thing you're gonna say is, "Oh, Mari, you look younger in this.
it. You look different.
You look different. Is it your hair?" But yeah, no, it's close. But there was a lot of the overthinking of like, is that the way we want to do that shot?
Hmm.
Is the music good enough? It's always the is it good enough?
Yeah.
I think that is your answer. The questions of is it good enough? And it's always like enough for who? For what?
That was going to be my follow-up. It's like, who is it good enough for? I mean, some people may think, holy shit, this is amazing. And some people may think, I've seen better. But I mean, people are going to have that opinion regardless, no
Yes.
matter what. Even
Yes.
at your best, they're still going to go, meh, it was okay. I mean, you got some of the biggest directors in the world, and people critique it like crazy. It's like you couldn't even come close to what that's being done. So you're always going to get that. So it's something within us that I think we have a certain bar that we want to reach. Now, do you think maybe since you've shot and worked on so many things since then, because it's one of those, projects that you may have just been like, all right, I'll get that done. And then you start working on other things and you keep pushing it back. Do you feel like you've done so much beyond that, that if you go back to this, you're like, it's not at the caliber of what I'm at now? Is that kind of where your thinking is?
A little bit of it of like, oh, is this where I want to go with my career? Does it
Mm-hmm.
reflect something else? But I feel like that's a small part of it. I do want to tap on what you were saying
Mm-hmm.
about uh, people will always have different opinions, and that is the one thing that allows me to have a lot of solace in like being an online person. I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy is perfect. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's perfect in every way, and there will be people who do not agree, and I vehemently disagree. And I'm like, you have differing opinions on this. I completely disagree with you, and that's okay. And so if to me a perfect trilogy gets skewered, then anything I put out there is I've been toying a lot about this like nobody cares thing. And it's not like care in the sense of like you didn't put effort into it or there wasn't intention behind it. It's more so that like everyone's got their own thing going on, and you are not being perceived or judged as harshly as you are perceiving yourself and judging yourself. And so there is a freedom in knowing that nobody cares, not that it's being dismissive.
It's the line we all know. You're always going to be your worst critic. And it's just, I mean, we're always naturally going to do that no matter what. I mean, there's stuff I look back on and I'm like, I could have done this, and this differently. So what do you think you would have done differently on this project to make it go over the edge?
I think I would have approached it in a very similar way as a project that I worked on with very, very much the same crew. And we decided to get out of our rut of overthinking and make
Mm-hmm.
something in 3 days. Write it, shoot it, edit it, finish the whole thing in 3 days. And now it's in film festivals. And that was our ultimate like just stop thinking, just put it out there and go one step ahead and put it into a place where it is being judged, right? At a film
Yeah.
festival. And so I think that was kind of our, as a group, we were like, okay, let's get the machine running again and prove to ourselves that we can finish a project quickly. Because I think that was the only antidote is to move like it's going to the gym, it's like reworking the muscles. And when you're at the gym and you're lifting heavy, there's a thought in your head that goes, "Whoa, what if this happens? What if that other thing happens?" And that's your overthinking brain where you're like, "I got this."
So is this the only project you have in post production purgatory, or do you have some others
Oh,
that
I
you're
have
sitting on?
others. I have others that'll probably never see the light of day that aren't as heavy in that
Yeah.
feeling of like, oh, I really should have put it out there. It's like it's kind of like all of our uh drafts folders, our notes folders, all the fragmented post-it notes that we have, both physically and mentally and digitally. They're there. And like some of them I think will find the light of day in smaller pieces. Maybe it'll be one line or a scene. But yeah, I wrote so much during the pandemic. And I do have hope that it'll become something someday. But at the same time, it's like maybe things happen exactly there when they're supposed to happen. The timing is just right and you just don't know it until it happens.
I totally agree with that 100%. I do have to ask though, we did talk earlier about projects that we worked on that don't get completed and somebody else makes it or has the same or similar idea. Have you had a project get made that you were like, I had that idea and it got produced? Did you ever, can you recall one that happened or?
Yeah, I think that like when there were a lot of shows around gaming and kind of doing things IRL.
Mm-hmm.
At Smosh Games, I try to do that as much as possible, like play the game and do it in real life. I had an idea of like doing life, all things in life, like a skill tree.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's learning, physical books and your intelligence goes up, or you're doing athletic things and your, different attributes go up.
Yeah.
Somebody did that, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so perfect, and it was well done. Yeah, there's plenty of things where it's like, oh, I could do it, so I want to do it, but I think that's also another sort of thing. It's another trap that a lot of us get into. Just because we can doesn't mean that we have to. I think Colin and Samir called it like something kind of like genre FOMO. They're known to be podcasters and people who who do that. But whenever they see cool videos, they get this FOMO of like, "Oh, we could do that. Oh, I wanna do that." And so we get into this, like, foot race with ourselves of like, "Well, I could, so should I?"
I got to ask you, is there, out of all the projects you made and worked on, is there one that you would just never ever would do again?
Probably, but they're probably in the erased parts of my brain. They're in the recycling bin. It's so funny because I mean, like the feelings come up, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, the moments of meltdown. But I don't know. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, well, but I'm sitting here talking to you. I made it through
Yeah.
every single one of those. There's plenty of things where I'm like, oh gosh, I want to give you like at least one project. There's definitely brands that I don't ever want to work with again, and those are nightmare experiences.
Yeah.
But I've also learned like, oh, that was my own boundary problem. And so I think in all of these, it's a lesson of like, oh, what could I have changed in this situation? Because I can't change the exterior portion of it. What could I have done better? And bringing that into the next project, it always does work. It always is a thing where it's just like, got it. I have more control than I ever thought.
Have you ever hit a point where you just were like, I'm done. I'm out. I quit. I don't know if I can get into this or stay in this. You've obviously had a few shifts in your career, but when it comes to making video content on a director level or as a on camera host or actress, do you feel like there's a moment you're like, I'm out, I'm done?
I think the out for me comes before a project is a go. I
Mm-hmm.
have a pretty good gut sense, and that could go both ways. I could read a situation completely wrong too.
Yeah.
So maybe there's plenty of projects that have slipped through the cracks because I'm like, my gut says it don't feel like it's good. Who knows? But, like, the path has led me here in a sense where it's like, I've worked with really incredible people, and
Yeah.
I've worked on really amazing projects, and there aren't so many situations that come up where I'm like, "Oh, I would never work with that person again," or, "I would never step foot on that set again." To be honest, I think a lot of it comes from, like, the ballet world was really hard, and that's what I grew up in. I started ballet when I was 2 and a half. I was on the road touring at 3 until 12.
Wow.
And then I went professional at 17, and, like, I don't think anything I've experienced in this world is as, tough as that one.
So yeah, I'm actually curious. So in that world, how does that become like? I'm assuming there's stage shows, there's a perform. I mean, how do you become? I've just never met obviously there's people that do Broadway shows or people that do I had somebody I'd worked with a while ago. They're now a Rockette in New York, so I
Cool.
get that like very cool. So I get that like there's outlets like that, but as a ballet dancer, like how do you make money doing that? What type of work comes up for a dancer?
Yeah, I think these days there are a lot more options these days, and I think you
Yeah.
could say that about any, job out there in any
Hmm.
industry because of social media content and whatnot.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, the avenues were dance, find a professional company that's a 9 to 5, and if you can't, then, have a regular job and dance in companies part-time and teach on the side. But it was normal to have 2, 3 jobs at a time, to sustain yourself, and I was in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is already a very competitive place to
Totally.
be, and not a cheap place to be either. And
No.
so, yeah, I mean, the jobs are slim in the sense that, like, the path is really carved out, and the path is carved in a sense where it's like, this is how it's been for hundreds of years. Ballet's rigid in that sense, but these days there's so much more room to work with, and if anything, I'm really glad that it's gone that way.
Do you still practice at all? Do you still, do it more as like a hobby now or do it for fun? I mean, it's brutal. I've seen pictures and I've seen experiences of ballet dancers, particularly. I mean, it's a major toll on your body. So,
Yeah,
um, but yeah, you still do it. You still practice it
I
every once in a
still
while.
do ballet. Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
still my hobby and it's still my exercise. My feet are strong and ugly.
All right, that's a great combination.
It's like a barbarian, you know?
Well, I love that you've had so many different facets of your life and that you've gone through kind of horrible experiences, projects that never came through, which I'm sure a ton of creatives can relate to that. But again, I want to kind of end on a better note of what your best project is and something that you really feel proud of and took a lot of the learnings that you had from your worst projects and ones that didn't get done to make your best project because this is all about the time it takes to get to where you're at now. Talk to me about your best project.
Yeah, my best project was a film I made in 2024.
Okay.
The first one that I would say that I wrote and directed and made in a cinematic sense, which I had not done before.
Mhm.
It was more of a narrative sense.
What genre?
I would say somewhere between a vlog and a short film.
Okay.
It rests really very it's a short film that belongs on YouTube. I would say that because oftentimes in narratives you're not speaking directly to camera and spiking camera, but that's what you do on YouTube. So it was
Yeah.
something kind of in between for me. This goes back to that sort of up and down roller coaster we were talking about in the beginning of this interview of like, oh, what's the last 6 years been like for you? And it has been that sort of back and forth of like, yay, we've got wins, and like the valley of what the heck am I doing? Like, what am I doing any of this for? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, this film came out of that feeling of being completely adrift and completely lost in life.
Tell me a little more about it. What, you know, a vlog style video? I'm assuming you're talking about the years during COVID, or your years as a creative. Why
Yeah,
this project?
yeah. I guess I didn't really answer that question because you're like, "What's your best project?" I'm like, "This is my project when I was really, really down."
Well, no,
But
it's not, I mean, that's the art of creativity, is to pull
yeah,
us out of those, you know, it's to bring the light, the darkness that we feel on the inside sometimes. That,
totally,
ooh,
totally.
that should be, I should quote that one. That was a
Yeah,
good
that's
one.
a shirt, Sean. That's a shirt. Put it.
I should. Creativity brings to light the darkness within us.
I'm wearing it now. Boom, put it on. Um, yeah, to absolutely to your point, it was like synthesizing that moment in time that I felt as a creative, somebody who on the outside had risen risen the ranks, right? Like
Yeah.
I was kind of on a high from my career, and then I found a major lull in the sense of not because like it wasn't doing well on the outside, but things were not well on the inside. I just didn't know what I was making things for anymore. That creative juice dried up in the sense of like, am I just a machine pumping out content?
Yeah.
Is what it started to feel like. And I'm like, what am I doing any of this for? And so I wrote furiously. I filmed the next day. I edited, and I think I was done. I want to say I was done in like 4 days. And normally I don't make myself go on these like benders, but I've given you two examples now where, yeah, it is that bender of like, just don't sleep, make. I don't condone that. But there were two instances. The first instance was the short film that my team and I made, and that was called War. That's the one that's in film festivals now. This
Mhm.
one called Adrift, I made pretty much by myself. I had friends help me in the beginning, few shots that are very pretty, but it is one of those things where it's like being able to synthesize what you're going through and just get it out. Sometimes that is the best feeling.
I mean, it's kind of what you do in therapy. I mean, you give somebody to talk to, and you know, let things out that you may not. I mean, sometimes even just talking about stuff, you really kind of, you figure it out on your own a little bit. And I think that's, and I'm using therapy as an example because I think sometimes it incites those questions of, you know, why were you feeling this way, or what made you feel that way, and you start getting, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Do you think the your thought process of how the audience will respond to what you're saying is kind of like your therapist? Like, how, what is it
Mm.
about talking into the camera, or creating something, because you're obviously you're making it for yourself, but you're also making it for some people to watch. So do you feel like that's where the therapy is, or where the release is? Because we want a result from our audience, no matter, you know, what we're thinking. We want a response.
Funny enough, when I made it, I thought it was so unrelatable. I had not really thought too much about the audience response.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to make it to remind myself that I mattered. And if it helped other people remind themselves of that too, then amazing. I thought it was pretty unrelatable because I'm like, I'm talking about my career. And then I found out that it was really relatable for folks. And beyond career, more so of like how we judge ourselves and how we think about ourselves, and yeah, how we try to kind of put ourselves into these puzzle pieces that don't fit sometimes. And
Yeah.
so I was astonished, to be honest with you. I uploaded it and then I stayed off like the internet for the rest of the day. I think I was in like a meeting with a friend, not a meeting. We were talking for
Mm-hmm.
like 6 hours. And then I checked my phone and I'm like, oh, people are watching this. And that was a response that felt mixed. You know, it was one of those like tampen the ego, remember why you made this, all those sort of feelings of like go back to the core of like why this was done in the first place.
When did you realize this was working, before you even put it on the web, like before you even put it out? Because obviously getting responses, you know you're doing something right or people are resonating with it. But where did it feel like it was working for you before you even got it out?
It felt right making it, filming it, writing it. Oh, every step of the way, my gut was like, this is just true. This
Yeah.
just it's just it. And it's like, oh man, aren't those moments magical when
Ah,
everything just connects? It
yep.
I think that is the flow that we're all trying to get to. And as much as we want to, we can't force it. If you could put it in a pill, I think everyone would be popping them like crazy. But I think that there's something beautiful in the sense of like when it comes to you, it comes to you. And if you can honor it when it does, my gosh, what beautiful things we create.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I don't know what it is, but it's just like euphoric. You get like those butterflies in your stomach. You get overwhelmed. You get that lump in your throat. And it's just like a truly magical experience. And you want everyone to experience that same thing. So I totally relate and understand with what you're saying. Um, do you think that that particular project has influenced your work going forward?
Yeah, it really opened up a new door that I didn't expect, honestly. I didn't expect to to be honest, I don't expect to find a lot of paths in my life in the sense of like everything feels like side quests.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I'm just opening a bunch of doors all the time, being like, "Oh, maybe this one or maybe that one." And oftentimes it has made me feel like, "What is the main quest here?
Yeah.
Get on the main pathway." Until I realized, it's like having a lot of those doors opened is what has created some of the most joyful moments of my life.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of going down paths that weren't expected, things that I hadn't carved out, and feel really grateful to be able to do it that way. Yeah, it opened the door to understanding like, oh, I want to make content that allows me to be more vulnerable and possibly connect with people. Vulnerability is weird. I think that people always thought that I was really open because I was in comedy. And so with comedy, it's like you are really vulnerable and open in a performative theatrical way. There weren't a lot of avenues because it wasn't the right stage for it to be like, and I'm feeling this. It's like I can improv and perform and razzle dazzle, and I'm feeling like an imposter at the same time. And so I think a lot of my content now is like talking about that part of it, where you can
Yeah.
do both.
I talk to a lot of creators and they always ask me like how do you start? How do you make things how do you make it work and how do you get on this algorithm or how do you get stuff and you said it earlier, just do it. Just start making it. Don't overthink it and just start putting stuff out there. But I think the other thing is there's an audience for everyone. So just make what you want to make. I had a buddy of mine who he likes to make these videos, like quirky little rap videos, and he's absolutely got no audience, and but he just wants to put stuff out there. And he asked me for feedback, and I said, "Look, man, like, look, I mean, I can hear it, I can see it. That's the important part. I mean, audio is important, but overall, like, I have no say in this. Like, this is what you want to put out. There's an audience that's going to want to watch it." And I think that's really freeing for creatives on so many levels because you'll be able to find people that will just gravitate towards your stuff. Do you find that to be true, or do you look at that a little differently?
No, I agree with you. It's one of those things where it's like you have to ask yourself like, what does it mean to you?
Hmm.
Do you like it? Does it matter that other people like it? Why does it matter if other people like it? It's like it is asking a lot of those questions, and it does get really, really heavy. There's also like art for everything, right? There's art for people and there's art for yourself.
Yeah,
And it comes back to that question of like, well, is it art if nobody is perceiving it or if nobody is viewing it or looking at it? And I don't know. It's a question that is only meaningful to you, I think, and how you perceive that. But yeah, I mean, going back to it, like the most expensive delay is hesitation. So
yeah,
make it.
100% agree with that. uh, so what do you think's broken right now in this kind of creator influencer industry, which I got to ask you that question too, but we'll get to that. But what do you think's broken in this industry right now?
What is that's such a good question, Sean. What is broken? I mean, with everything that's broken, there's also another side to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can say and make the argument, and it is true, like a broken part is that monetization is really, really heavy on every single facet of content creation. And on the other side, there are also people like your friend making what they want to make. If money is the only thing, and if money and views are the only thing that is giving us worth for our art, then maybe that is something that is broken. But it's also a perception thing. And
Yeah.
so perhaps not as broken as we think. Maybe it is up to us to understand it better and think about it for ourselves better.
That's true, because I think there's a lot of people that gravitate towards YouTube and Instagram hoping for that Insta fame, hoping for that big viral video. And yes, it does happen. It's not as often as you think it would, but you also don't know how many videos that person behind behind that one video that they've made to try and get that one viral, video. And then once they get that viral video, then they're constantly trying to catch up or keep catching up with what they've created, and it's never going to land the same way. And I think that kind of can be really dangerous creatively and emotionally. I think that can weigh on some people, because I mean, it's an exuberant amount of money and numbers that people can get from just that one video. And I think it's on a level of it being a little bit dangerous on a really emotional level.
It's one of those things where it can also trap you into these like golden handcuffs. During the pandemic, I know TikTokers were really all about the like bucket, staying in your bucket, having your niche and basically becoming like a dance monkey dance situation of like, do the same thing in the exact same way, just a different situation over and over and over 3 times a day. And I know a friend who got really, really, really a lot of eyes on themselves for that. And then they were like, this makes me so unhappy. I can't do anything else. I'm just this one character. And so it can really play on your emotions of like, what do I really want? Hey, got the fame. Now what? Oh, maybe that's not what I actually wanted. And so it is a lot of these existential questions that are important to ask yourself, but we're not ready to answer those questions until we're ready to answer those questions. Like until you're sitting in the mud, you're not going to be like, oh, let me get myself out of there. Anyone can ask you like, what are you going to do when you get in the mud? It's like, I don't know, all these other things. But until you're in it, you don't know how you're going to handle it. So it's so personal. That's why I tend to do as much as possible not give advice, because my advice is meaningless unless it's something that you pick up and you want to hear and you go, oh, that is something that resonates with me. We're not going to want to change if we're not going to want to change.
Well, I have to ask, because there's a lot of controversy with this about what you call, because there's always like influencer, content creator, I'm trying to think of the other one, but or I'm specifically a film director or a filmmaker. What do you think the distinction is between those? And also, like, what would you categorize most video creators right now? Like, what would you consider them? Like, do you call them? I mean, I don't even think influencer is really even a term anymore that people use.
We X'd out of that one so much.
I know, because it became so, I mean, influencers in the wild, I think, just kind of made it like, okay, all right, now we're just a joke. So content creators seems to be more of the thing, but I'm hearing that people are not even really wanting to be called content creators. So what is it? What do you think it should be called? And what is it called now that we should be all referencing, if you even have the answer? I mean, it's so many.
Well, okay, I'll ask you this. Don't you think it's interesting that this entire industry has become buzzwords for like marketing people? Because it didn't used to be called content creation. Like it wasn't even social media. It used to be social networking is what it used to be.
Hmm.
And networking was like the word because you have connections with people. And then it became social media. I don't know when. I don't know my internet history. Maybe somebody will know. But from there, influencers is a word that came from, I think, marketing folks
Yeah.
and people who are trying to sell this thing. Content creators sounds like something that content creators created themselves to differentiate themselves from influencers. I mean, at the end of the day, aren't they all just labels? And it's
Totally.
like, I don't know, you're a creative. And I don't think you have to produce videos and make content to be a creative. I think everyone is creative.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's like I think it's one of those things where I used to have a problem when people would get my name wrong. And it would like really like hurt my feelings. Where it's like, you don't know me, you don't know my name. And I think that that's kind of how I feel about influencer and content creator, where it's just like, what is working for you? How do you want to like tell me who I am? And it's like that's fine if that works for you. For me, I just have to make things to stay sane. I think that's just that's just what it is. Do I have a label? I don't know. You can label it however you want.
Okay. Well, somebody asked you, what do you do? Mari, what
Uh,
do you do?
I would say I'm an actor, and right now I am getting my coaching license. That's what I would say. And then it's like, oh, but you make things online. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, I make things to emulate my inner world of what I do, and I don't know, create a log of my life. It's
Hmm.
like a diary. I don't know. I feel like that's my diary, and you're just reading it.
It's a public video diary. Yeah. So,
Like,
what would the proper name? Public video diarist? That doesn't sound right.
yeah,
No, I wouldn't go with that
I
one.
don't know. It's a little wordy. I'm not
Well,
sure, but
and
you bring up such a good question of like, what do we call this thing? Because everyone's doing it, right? Like you can't be a lawyer without social media these days. Like every single newscast person has social media, and it's like we're no longer allowed to just do the one thing.
well, it didn't used to be such an industry. It didn't used to be such a business. It was, when a film comes out, you advertise on TV. You have your previews on TV. You have a website. Who has a website? Well, some people do, but you'd advertise on there. And then back then it was what, MySpace, Facebook was kind of the place to put those items. And that was kind of an afterthought for most companies. We'll put it on there. It's good
Yeah.
places to have it. But now it's like, that's the forefront.
Yeah.
That's the first thing they think about. Everything else kind of comes secondary.
It's
At
so
least what I feel.
interesting.
It
I'm
is
like,
interesting.
I'm like, I don't need my doctor to have a marketing agency behind them. You know what I mean? Like, like I don't need the local butcher to be like, and my TikTok. I'm like, be the one, but I don't know. I say that while also being totally a person who's online. So
Oh my god! Like, I mean, Dr. Pimple Popper. I mean, she's completely made her career. I mean, I think what TLC she was on. I think she's still on there, but that was popular. But then all the videos that she makes now are just driving her business completely. I Sad to say, I get in some of these obscure YouTube worlds, but I actually watch these guys mow lawns,
oh,
and another guy actually clean pools, and they
that sounds
just
so
let the.
satisfying.
It's so satisfying. It's ASMR. It's just like I put it on in the background. You can hear the pool water going. You hear the pump going, and you hear the mower. They just kind of, and they do it in fast motion, at least the mower part. But they actually go around and they do a lot of those jobs for free for the people because they make so much money monetizing online.
So wild. You know what it
It's just,
feels like? It
mm,
feels like you're watching like the Truman Show and you're just going on like channels of like people's lives,
multiple Trumans.
right? And it's just
Yeah.
like pool guy. And then you're like a guy playing chess and person cooking. It's like it's just you're flipping through people's daily lives and activities, which is I don't know, as a human, is there something nice about that in the sense of like living in somebody else's shoes and just kind of living vicariously through and nothing else? And I don't know. I'm not like a burn it all to the ground type of person. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, this is interesting. What are we doing right now?
Well, my buddy brought up a good point. He was like, have views have like, it's almost like views have become currency.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like if you're doing a mowing video and you're getting, let's say, 1 million views per video and you're generating X amount of dollars, you can afford to, you know, do this person's lawn for free or whatever, because you're able to get that content. So how far can that go is what I'm curious about. I mean, at this point, I'm just kind of like thinking of all this stuff because you're in this industry well ingrained, but I mean, I don't know. I just find it incredibly interesting.
It is a strange thing, right? And then like the next step becomes like the Black Mirror episode where you have your like ranking, it's like number of views, number of subscribers, and you're walking around with this sort of,
That is
this is
such a
who I
terrifying,
am.
such a terrifying episode. But I mean, we're not that far off if we're really thinking about it. But
Yeah.
let's hope we use it for good. I want to keep it for positive. But I do want to ask though, your creative future, Mari. What are you chasing right now? Where are you going? What do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to end up?
Like my high school counselor, to which I go, I think I need clear answers. I don't know. I'm chasing being on as many sets as possible with people that I love and having a really great day on set. I'm chasing being a member of community and helping folks out. And that's why I'm getting my coaching license, to be able to ethically like help folks out. Because yeah, once my content changed, a lot of people are like, oh, how do I also do this? And I was like in people's DMs, like giving advice. And I'm like, this can't be right. I need to learn how to actually help folks. And that's why I went into coaching, which is no advice giving. And so, yeah, just being a member of community and making things with awesome folks. That's all I'm choosing.
Well, I love it. That's a great thing to chase. And I really appreciate you spending the time with us. And I'm really hoping our audience got a chance to get to know you a little bit better. Before we go, though, I do want to give you an opportunity to throw up your Instagram handle or even link some information about your short film or anything that you want people to watch. This is your moment to share that.
Awesome. Well, I go by @Atomic Mari on social media. Our film War and Only Space and Time are both in film festivals right now. So if you catch them, let me know. And otherwise, best wishes on your journeys, everyone.
Amazing. Mari, thank you so much again for joining Render Time. I always like to end each one of my podcasts going, what's your render time? We'll see you again soon.